All of you must have seen the movie Bangalore Days, right? So, if you remember the jobs of the main characters in the movie, you would notice that there are a bunch of unconventional careers in it, right? Something that the character Sarah has, like she is a RJ, and also she sometimes goes out for motivational sessions for little kids. And then there's one more character who is repairing bikes in a in the bike racing circuit. And so there are some unconventional careers there, right? And when we watch these things, it, it feels aspirational, right? You feel that, oh, I should do something like this, or should I try to find out if I'm interested in something like this, right? While you see there are other characters, like there's one character who is working in a corporate setup and is in a dead end job, right? And you somehow feel that when you get into something similar, you may also face the same amount of fatigue or the same amount of monotony, right? So what happens here is, or what the movie is trying to show is that when you love your job or when you enjoy what you do, the people around us find it aspirational. The people around us feel that, oh, this is something that we should also be doing, right? So the main goal of having a good career is trying to find what you love, trying to find where you are better than most people in something, and then pursuing that. So in the beginning, you may not be that good, but if you have true interest in it, it would definitely develop, and you would get better than most people at it. So that was the story. I hope you get my point. So, when you think about starting a career, the first thing that you need in today's age and today's time is to learn basic applications. So, by basic applications, I mean PowerPoint, Excel. So, these are just basic things. Like if you are, even if you are a doctor, or if you are a CEO of a company, or you run a hotel, you need to know Excel, right? And or PowerPoint or Word. These are basic applications that you need in your day-to-day life in any kind of job. So you need to know these things. Also, you need to know internet browsing. No matter what your job is, you need to find out the latest information. So you should know basic browsers, how to search certain things. These are all extremely essential. Another thing is file conversions. So we must have seen PDFs, Word documents. So we should know how to convert these documents from one format to another. So one way is doing it online. You can just find a bunch of applications online where you can convert these files. But the thing is, if the information inside your PDF is a confidential information, let's say your medical reports or something, then you don't want it floating around in the internet, right? So in such scenarios, what you need to do is you can find application softwares that you can download in your system, and it'll not be a huge task. You just have to search for such softwares, and you can download the software and then convert your files. So these are some of the basic things that you need to know when you start your career. And these are like understood, that people assume that you know these applications and you know these things. So now that is clear. The next step would be to know how to write a decent email. So emails are such essential tools nowadays. Basically, emails are replacing your communication, right? So when you write a decent email, it means you are able to communicate your thoughts effectively to the recipients in that email, right? So we need to be extremely careful when we write an email. So you need to follow the standard format. First, you salute the person or the bunch of people you are writing that email to, and the body should have precise information of what you are trying to convey. You should not include unnecessary things, unnecessary words. It should be precise and to the point. And Don't use any fancy fonts or fancy colors in the email. So the standard font that most of us would use is Calibri or Times New Roman. You cannot just go and use Comic Sans or some funny font there. It would convey a really bad impression about you. And using colors are extremely important in conveying, right? So you cannot use some sort of color and then expect the other person to understand what you were trying to say. So the color red and the color green have some specific meanings. Let's say you highlight certain words in red color. So what that red color is conveying is that this is something important. This is some sort of warning. This is something that I'm trying to notify you, or this is something, or it can have a negative connotation, like this is something that needs urgent care, or this is something that is failing. So red color signifies that. So unless and until that particular line doesn't mean any of these things, don't use red color. Use the standard black color. Similarly, the color green is used to show something positive, like something was successful, you won something, or you are trying to send a happy news. So green is used for such things. So be very careful when you use certain colors and certain font when you write the email. And in the signature that you have below the body would basically have your name and your contact information. Apart from the email ID, if the person wants to contact you, then you need to mention that your phone number, your LinkedIn ID, or any mode of communication like phone number, LinkedIn ID, Facebook ID. A lot of people also put their websites. All those things you can include in your signature. So now that we are clear with emails, the next step would be to write a decent resume. So resumes are subjective, right? So let's say if you are a designer, let's say you are a web designer or a graphic designer, your resume can be very creative. You can put a lot of creative graphics inside it, and basically so through your resume you are trying to show your talent to the person who is reading it. So if you are a graphic designer or some sort of designer, it's a good way to show your creativity in your resume. But if you're not applying for a creative position, I would totally suggest that you don't go the creative way and follow a standard format. So the standard format would be mention your name, your mobile number, your email ID, your basic contact info, and then just briefly about you, why you are pursuing this career, why you want to get into so and so company, what are you trying to get out of it. So just mention briefly about your career goals in the top. So uh, this would give the other person a little bit idea of what you are trying to gain from the job position. And after that, if you are a working professional, you should mention all your work experiences. If you are a fresher, then you need to mention all your educational qualifications. So right from your 10th, 12th, graduation, masters, all the degrees that you have gained, you just need to mention the name and the percentage or the grade that you received in that particular degree and the year that you passed out. So these are the basic educational qualifications that you need to mention. And then if you have done some sort of internships, workshops, or you have collaborated with someone or some organization or some NGOs, volunteer work, all these things can go below this. And once you have covered all these details about yourself, you can then mention, nowadays people don't look at it, but you can mention your hobbies, your so things that you do when you have some free time. You can mention those things. And then your basic details like the languages that you speak, the place you are from, things like that. And then in the end, towards the very end, just put a declaration that all these information that I have filled is completely true, and then just sign it off with a date. So this is a standard format of a resume. You need to fill at least this much for the resume to be complete. Another very important thing is don't make your resume bulky with 3, 4, 5, 6 pages. Nobody has time to read all that, right? Most resumes would be 1 or 2 pages long. That's all. So anything more than that is considered bulky and people would just skip through it. And also one thing to note here is do not use paragraphs. So paragraphs make certain texts boring and people would just skim through it. They'll not read it properly. So always try to mention it using bullet points or some sort of, or in different lines so that people can read it easily. Or if you want to highlight something, you can just put it on top. So these are some basic tips that you can follow when you write a resume. Another thing is if you are also your resume should be customized based on the job position that you are applying to. So let me give you an example. Let's say you know 5 things. You have 5 skills, and the job that you are applying for only needs 3 out of the 5 skills. It doesn't need the other two. So what you need to do is you need to highlight the top 3 skills on the top, or you need to enhance, or you need to talk more about it. You need to mention your interest of or the things that you have done using those 3 skills, so that the other person or the person who is reading it would think, okay, so this is the right candidate, right? So the resume should always be customized to the job position that you are applying. So no matter how many skills you know, the other person is only interested in finding the right person for the job, right? They don't care if you have 2 or 3 extra skills. So these are some of the basic things that you need to follow when you write a resume. And another golden rule would be to, get your grammar and spelling errors checked. Before writing any email or before sending any email or resume, you have to check for grammar and spelling errors, because any one single spelling error or a grammar error would just kill the whole hard work. It would just give a bad impression about you. So always be careful about the grammar mistakes, common spelling mistakes, common mistakes like then, than, all these words, you, are, your. These are simple words, and if you make mistakes in these, in the usage of these words, it would just create a bad impression. So now that you know basic applications, you know emails, resume. So now when you're applying for a job, think about the current scenario, right? So right now we are all going through a pandemic. So, so this happened around 2019, towards the end of 2019, and everything changed. The technology scenario in the world, the political scenario, the economical scenario, everything changed within a year, right? Lot of people suffered, lot of companies were shut down, people were laid off, people were jobless for months. So when you think about a job or when you think about a lucrative career, always consider these kind of contingencies. Like if you are, if what happens when you lose the job, or what happens when the landscape changes, when there's suddenly a pandemic, or when there's suddenly a natural disaster, or there's floods, and suddenly you're not able to go to your office. What happens then? So think about these things before applying for a job. Will this company retain me? Will this place fire me? So think about these things before applying for a job. You need not be too concerned about it. I mean, we never know, right, what the future holds. So it I mean, any one of us can be fired or laid off, no matter how valuable we are, right? So these are just things that you just need to consider before doing something, just to be, prepared. It's always good to be prepared. Have a plan, have a backup plan. Always be optimistic, but don't be overconfident, I would say. So before applying for a job, always consider these things. Another thing, now that we considered all these things and now we are all into this, so how to apply for the right job now, right? So when you go through your academics, when you go through the various subjects that we are studying on a day-to-day basis, what do we see? Are we interested in a certain topic? Are we interested in a certain subject? Am I interested in knowing more about so and so? Like, if I like data, if I like analytics, am I trying to pursue it? Am I trying to find the latest innovations in it? Or if I am a doctor, if I am I trying to find about medicines, or where is my interest going? So try to find such areas, such niche areas where your interest is building, and then try to pursue a career in those areas, because chances are you will excel in those areas. You will be a better uh, you will be a better suited person in those areas, right? Because you're already interested, you're already curious about it. So try to find such areas in your academics, or when you go through your curriculum. Try to find such things and try to pursue a job which is somehow related to it. And always try to be prepared before you go for any interview, any session. Always be prepared. Never try to wing it, because being prepared actually builds confidence. It actually so when you're completely prepared, no matter what the other person is going to ask or say, you will feel confident, right? I know so and so topic quite well, so the confidence will exude on your face, and confidence is half the job, right? Once they see that the candidate is a confident person, they are more likely to take you. So confidence is the key here, and confidence comes with being prepared. So now that you find all these areas, you apply for a job in it, all those things, one thing to remember is, will this job be relevant in the next 5 years or in the next 7 years? Because the current landscape is changing so much. Newer and newer technologies are coming in. There is so much of innovation happening, right? One example would be, earlier we had customer care executives, right? Now also we have, but the number of customer care executives are reducing, because you can just handle those things with the IVR or a robotic voice, right? You don't need a person at the other end to tell you what to do. You can just set up a voice note and just play it every time somebody calls. So there are a lot of such jobs that have become irrelevant in the last couple of years. So always be careful of picking something, whether it would be relevant in the future or in the near future, 5 or 7 years. These were some of the basic things that you need to do when you start a career. Another important thing that we all neglect, or we all kind of forget, is about our family. So when our parents were growing up, or when our parents were working, they didn't have all these jobs, right? Like when my parents were working, there was no position called data analyst, right? So my parents wouldn't know what is the job of a data analyst, or what is the job of a software developer. My parents may not know. They may know what a banking person or banking professional is doing. They may know what a doctor does. They may know what a lawyer does, but they may not know so they may not know what a YouTuber is doing. So right now the job market is filled with such jobs, there are families clueless. They don't know what happens when you pursue that sort of a career. So very important thing would be to teach your family. Tell them why this job, what what sort of income you would gain from it, and what does the future entail. Right? Our parents are always concerned about our future. We should inform them what will happen in the future, how long will this career go on, how will you stay updated, how will you uh, try to stay relevant in that particular career option. So it's very important to talk to your parents, teach them, slowly update them about the career, about the opportunities that the career entails. So these things are very important. We usually neglect. We just tell them that you will not understand, or you don't care about it. You just care about the income I earn, right? But don't neglect such things. I would say from the start of your career, talk to your parents, teach them about what your job consists of, what do you do on a day-to-day basis, so that they are aware. They should know where you are applying, what the company does, or what sort of work you do. It's very important. You should not neglect this. So once that is all sorted out, so let's say you started working and you find that you lack certain skill sets and your job needs you to stay updated. So always make it a point to try to bridge those gaps. So if you lack certain skill sets, try to find out where you can get those skill sets, where you can learn it effectively, and if there are any areas where you can get some hands-on experiences in it. Very important to do this. Else what happens is you lag behind, and somebody else who has done the work or who has learned that particular skill set would just progress and you would stay behind. So always stay updated. Always try to find out what are the where am I lacking, which skill sets am I not able to cope with. Let's say your communication skills are bad, but you are really good at your work. So communication is very important. So you just have to find out places where you can try to improve your communication, or take up a English speaking course, or take up a personality development course. So take uh, care of your overall skill set, so that you stay on top of, stay on top of the pyramid, basically. These are very important things when you start your career, because the beginning is the best part. That's when you will be able to, climb faster. Because after 7 or 8 years down the line, you just stagnate. There's nothing exponentially new or exponentially better that you would be able to do after 10 years into your career, right? So these are things. So you have to keep yourself updated, keep your skills updated, try to find where you lack, and try to bridge those gaps. So to do this, you have to be a self-starter. You cannot just wait for your friend to start a particular course, or your friends to give you company, right? Or your brother or sister to help you out with it. You have to be a self-starter. Try to find out as much as possible and try to do it on your own. Because staying dependent would just delay things, or if the other person is not available, it would just stop you from doing something, right? So always be a self-starter, and people who self-start are extremely valuable in the job market, because they love such people, because they'll always find ways to learn new things. So now that we have all these things about our career in order, let's say you start your job and now you have a steady income. So now what happens with most people is you get your salary at the end of the month or the beginning of a month. And then for the first 2 weeks, you're good. You are able to spend your money. You are able to buy things that you've always wanted, right? and towards the end, the last 2 months, you're just broke, or you barely have money. So people are extremely negligent, I would say, when it comes to matters of money, because we are never taught to take care of our expenses. So golden rule to follow here would be the 80-20 rule. So no matter how much you're earning, always set aside 20% of that income to your savings and only use the 80% for your expenses. And when I say expenses, so you need to consider 30 days of a month, right? It cannot be the first 10 days or the first 15 days. So, so try to, I would not say create a list or some sort of spreadsheet or something, just inside your mind or in some app. Try to find out where you're spending so much, where the expenses are going, and try to regulate it. Try to find where. So, I would give you an example of a friend of mine when I started my career. So my friend would just the day we got the salary, within 2 weeks, he would just spend the whole salary. And towards the end of the month, somebody had to support him. Somebody had to give him 500 or 1,000 so that he can just go through the entire week. So what happens here is this person is trying to spend all the money in the beginning itself. So this person would just spend the money on buying stuff. So we need to take care of such expenses. Where are we spending the money on? Do we really need this? So let's say you got your salary, you buy a guitar. So when you buy a guitar, you need to think is, am I going to use this guitar in the long run? Am I going to play it? Am I going to, am I going to extract some sort of entertainment or some sort of value out of the guitar? Or is it going to just stay in one corner of your house and you are going to lose interest within 2-3 months? Then don't buy a guitar. Just go to your friend's house, or just find someone who has a guitar and just try to leverage that, right? So such kind of expenses should always be avoided. And major thing would be to take care of your food expenses, travel expenses, your basic bills, electricity bill, internet bill, water bill. So all these basic bills you should be able to pay on time. So these are very important things when you get your salary or when you start having an income. So by the bills, what I'm trying to say is try to learn to pay these bills online. So if you already, I mean, most of us would already know this, but if you don't know, try to find out how to pay the electricity bill, how to pay the internet bill, how to use your bank application. These are all basic uh, things that you need to know before you are well into your career, because these things would then pile up and then it will really stress you out. So first thing would be to get your finances in order when you start having a steady income. And now you have 20% of your salary in savings. So what to do with the savings? You cannot just put it in your bank and just forget about it, and when you need it you can just withdraw it. That's not how you're supposed to save. When I say save your money, you need to make your money work for you. So you need to put the money in some sort of investment opportunity. So most of us are not taught about investment opportunities in school, right? But these are very important in the current scenario, because based on what our country is, the economy of our country is right now, there's extremely high inflation, right? So you cannot just put your money in a fixed deposit because the rates are extremely low. So you need to make your money work for you. So put it in mutual funds, or if you are interested in the stock market, try to buy stocks that would do well in the future. So these are just, even if you don't want to do it, stay informed. Try to find out where your money would flourish. Try to find out these things. It can just be a postal deposit scheme, or it can something basic. To start off, you just need something basic. So when I started off, I had put my savings in a postal deposit scheme. These are all really, really helpful towards the future. Where, like, when you start earning really high, you will know where to put the money or where to make the money work. So try to stay informed in all these things. Try to find out more about these investment opportunities. Uh, Try to put little bit in such schemes like in mutual funds. Try to put a little bit of money in it and try to see how is it growing. Like if it's growing or if it's lacking, try to find something else where it's growing. So these are the things that you would be able to do in the beginning of your career, because towards 7 or 8 years down the line, you may not have the liberty to play around with your money, right? You may have a family, you may have kids to take care of. After that, you cannot play around with your money. You have to be extremely careful. But in the beginning of your career, you do have the liberty to have some disposable income and put it in such schemes or in such investment opportunities and try to find out how the money is growing. So it's very important. I would say all of us should have a certain amount of our income in some sort of investment scheme. This would also help us in taxes. So another very important thing is know how to file your taxes. No matter how much your income is, how much you are earning, it's always very important to know how to file your taxes, how to file for returns. All these things are extremely important. You need to know where the taxes are getting deducted or from where you'll be able to exempt a certain amount. So investment opportunities are helpful in that also, right? Like if you put your money in an investment opportunity that is tax exempted, then it won't be taxable. So let's say if you're earning 10 lakhs per year, and out of those 10 lakhs, you have put 2 lakhs in an investment opportunity that is exempted from tax as your taxable income. So now your income tax will only be put on the rest of the 8 lakhs. And out of the 8 lakhs also, 2.5 lakhs is exempted. So it will be only on the rest of the amount. So always take care of such things. Try to find out how you can save your taxes or where you want your income going. So these are the things that you need to know in the beginning of your career itself. So now that you have your finances in order, you have a great resume, you know what you want to do, you have a purpose, right? You are happy about your career. So now that you have everything cleared out, you may also have other interests, right? Other hobbies, little things here and there. You may like music, or you may like dancing. You may like some sort of art. So these are things that you may be doing in your free time. But you can also make it a income opportunity. You can, let's say, you write really well, then you can apply somewhere as a freelance writer. Or let's say you sing really well, so you can go for some music gigs or some programs. So what happens here is it's part of the gig economy. So gig economy is nothing but finding freelance opportunities and getting income out of those things. So when you have these other interests and when you pursue them, what happens is it really helps you with your stress. It really helps you in finding meaning out of your day-to-day activity. So when you do something that you have been doing since a long time or you've had a long-term interest in, would really help in reducing your stress, in making your work worthwhile. So I would always suggest that if you're really good at some other, if you have some sort of other interest or are you really good in some other areas, try to find some sort of gigs. It may not be a major part of your income, but it can be a small part, but it would help you in staying positive. So always try to think about such opportunities. And golden rule is that if you start your career, don't be so self-critical. Don't be so critical of your every move. Mistakes are okay. It's okay if you make mistakes in the beginning of your career, if you pursue something that you were not good at, or if you did something that was not helpful. It's okay. It's okay to make mistakes. The idea here is to work and improve on your mistakes. So don't be so self-critical or so don't I would say beat yourself up about it. And I don't know if you guys have heard or read the book Ikigai. So Ikigai is a Japanese philosophy where Ikigai means finding supreme focus and joy out of what you do. So that should be our goal, right? Because the Japanese people are living beyond 100. How are they living beyond 100 years? So it's because they have this, they find joy out of their work, and they are extremely focused on whatever they do. So always try to find your ikigai. Try to find where your joy lies, where your focus is. Try to find such things because that would make you happy in the longer run, and that would actually increase your longevity. Actually helpful. And one last thing I would touch upon is almost all of us have had anxiety or some sort of mental stress, and some of us have even gone through depression, right? It can be it can be based on your studies, your family situation, or your external factors, or it can be based on once you start working based on your work. So these things are quite normal. It's okay to panic. It's okay to feel anxiety, feel bad about something. It's okay to cry it out. It's okay to feel whatever you're feeling. As long as you ask for help, take help. And if you need medical intervention, it's always a good idea to consult a doctor, take medical help. Or if you have close friends or family members who you confide in, talk to them. Because it's never a good idea to stay alone and to isolate yourself from your extended family or your friend circle. It's never a good idea to just um, close yourself or shut yourself out. So always talk to people. Try to find out ways to get out of it. Try to find out try to find out why you are feeling the way you're feeling. Write your thoughts down. So these are all simple things that you can do. You can write your thoughts down. You can talk to someone you love. So this will help us out in the long run. So it's okay to feel all these things. All of us feel it at some point or other. It's completely normal. So try to get help. The sooner you get help, the better it would be for the long run. So always be positive about things and talk to people. So that was the last topic